So, the goals of incident response. Some of you might actually ask, why incident response? And these are some of the answers to that question. Basically, we're saying incident response confirms or dispels whether incident has occurred or not. And also, incident response establishes control for proper retrieval and handling of evidence. Incident response also minimizes disruption to business and network operation. It also allows for legal or civil recriminations against perpetrators. It provides accurate reports and useful recommendations. It also provides rapid detection and containment, as well as protects our organization's reputation and assets, only to mention a few. So, some of you might be having a question of what is computer forensics. So basically, computer forensics maybe to start, we can start by defining what a computer is. A computer is simply an electronic device that is capable of doing work or permutation or manipulation. Then forensics is the study of investigation. So computer forensics can be defined as a series of techniques and procedures for gathering evidence from computing equipment and various storage devices that can be presented in a court of law in a coherent and meaningful format. This is according to Dr. H.B. Wolf. Then according to the CSI, we can also define computer forensics as the preservation, identification, extraction, interpretation, documentation of computer evidence to include the rules of evidence, legal processes, integrity of evidence, factual reporting of the information found, and providing of expert opinion in a court of law. This is by CSI. Or we can simply define computer forensics as a science of capturing, processing, and investigating data from computers using a methodology whereby any evidence discovered is acceptable in the court of law. So, from those definitions, there is something that is actually common. In order for us to actually define what computer forensics is, we have to look into the definition in terms of 3 stages. The first one, which involves the gathering of data or the gathering of evidence. Then the second element, which involves the analysis of that data. Then the third element, which is the preservation for the presentation of that evidence in the court of law. So that is computer forensics for you. You might be asking why computer forensics is important, or the need for computer forensics. So, computer forensics is important because it ensures data integrity. By ensuring data integrity, we are simply meaning during the investigation process, if things are done in a forensically sound manner, the data is actually preserved. And also, computer forensics is very important because it proves the attacker's action in the court of law. Sometimes when an attacker or when someone performs a particular or does a particular crime, it is actually very, very difficult to prove if you're not skilled, if you're not trained, if you fail to follow the proper evidence handling procedures. So computer forensic is important because it helps us to prove if the attacker's action in court. Then also, it is also important because it enables us to protect the organization's money and valuable time, which is also very important. Computer forensic is also important because it enables us to efficiently track down perpetrators from different parts of the world. So, these are some of the importance or some of the reasons why we need computer forensics. But now, you will discover that in order for us to start our investigation, sometimes we have to undergo a process known as search and seizure. So, on searching and seizing computers, we can either do that without a warrant or with a warrant. So, there are two dynamics that exist. When we are searching and seizing computers without a warrant, basically we are saying, under the Fourth Amendment of the USA Patriotic Act of 2001, it limits the ability of the government agents to search for evidence without a warrant. But let's say if the government's conduct does not violate a person's reasonable expectation of privacy, then formally it does not constitute a Fourth Amendment search and no warrant is required. So if you want to search and seize a computer without a warrant, we have to first of all establish if the Fourth Amendment Act is being violated or not. Let's take this for instance. Let's say an employee within our organization who has actually gone through the computer usage policy of the organization performs an incident at the workplace. Let's say, for instance, he or she has actually used the company's email to send pornographic materials to a girlfriend. So, in a case like this, there is no warrant that is actually required for us to actually seize the laptop or the desktop from which the email has been sent. So in this particular case, the Fourth Amendment Act would not have been violated, and as a result, the reasonable expectation of privacy will be maintained. So in a case such as that, we can actually search and seize the computer without a warrant. So, there are exceptions to the warrant requirement in cases involving computers. So below is a list of certain exceptions that do not require a search warrant. Let's say, for instance, if someone actually gives us the computer by consent, there is no reason for a warranty. Then there are also some instances whereby we're saying a search incident to a lawful arrest. If there's a search incident to a lawful arrest, which simply means everything is above board, so there is no need for us to get a warrant. Thereby, we also have what we call border searches, international issues, inventory searches, as well as exigent circumstances. Under exigent circumstances, we're basically saying we have what we call perishable data or volatile data. In a situation whereby we're saying the data might actually go bad, or we might lose the data in the event that, let's say for instance, a machine is actually switched off. Then we're basically saying there's no need for us to obtain a warrant in order for us to actually search and seize a particular computer. Then we also have what we call searching and seizing computers with a warrant. So, different organizations or different countries have different laws which are followed. If we look here in Zimbabwe, a warrant is usually granted by the court of law. And before a judge actually decides on whether to give a warrant to search and seize a computer device, that judge has to be furnished with adequate information on or reasons that can be proved beyond reasonable doubt that there is a reason, a valid reason in which a warrant has to be issued out. So, in Zimbabwe, a warrant is usually obtained through through a particular process that I have just highlighted to you. Now, there's what we call digital evidence. So basically, digital evidence is usually defined as any information of value that is either stored or transmitted in a digital form. If we have any information that is of value and is either stored or transmitted in any digital form, then we deem that as digital evidence. So we're basically saying digital information can be gathered while examining digital storage media. Digital information can also be gathered while monitoring the network traffic or making duplicate copies of digital data found during the forensic investigation. So, basically, what is digital evidence? Found. Digital evidence is found in files such as graphic files, server logs, internet browsers, audio or video recordings, word processing and spreadsheet files, emails, as well as log files. That's where digital evidence is found. We have what we call characteristics of digital evidence. The digital evidence must have some characteristics to be disclosed in the court of law. We're basically saying digital evidence should be believable, should be reliable, should be complete, should be authentic, as well as digital evidence has to be admissible. Now, in computer forensic or in cyber forensic, we have what we call an investigative process. So basically, an investigative process simply outlines or explains the basic processes of gathering information and analyzing that information before actually coming up with a conclusion and making a written statement. So all those stages and all those processes that we go through during the investigation of an incident, that is from the data collection part, the data analysis part, as well as the reporting part, is what we call the investigative process.